I was always told you won't like Monster Hunter until you do, and I never really knew what they meant, but now I do.
Good night.
Like most people, I heard about the Monster Hunter series once it came to the West, and I purchased a copy of Monster Hunter Generations for the 3DS, and I hated it. I didn't understand how the game worked, so I put it down, never to touch it again. Entered the release of Monster Hunter Worlds. The trailers were awesome, the gameplay looked incredible, everything about it looked amazing, so it was an instant purchase for me. I put 2 hours into the game and it didn't stick with me. I put it on my Steam backlog and let it sit. Every once in a while I would think about Monster Hunter and how it seemed to have everything I wanted in a game, but just never stuck with me. Years later, I tried the game for a third time, and it was one of the best gaming decisions I've made to date. When you first start playing Monster Hunter, they give you a selection of 14 weapons and say, "Here you go, kid. Have a blast," with no real direction on how you progress. The game expects you to take time out of your day to learn, and for lack of a better phrase, study the blade. There are countless hours of content just on specific weapons and how they work. I played 100 hours with the longsword before I even understood its countering mechanic, which is pretty much the entire reason the weapon exists, and that could have been fixed with a simple Google search. Does this take the fun out of the game? Absolutely not. And in fact, I think this is one of the biggest strengths of Monster Hunter. While learning the game, you have two halves and a plethora of tools at your disposal. The first half is if you want to fight quick and agile, then dual blades are for you. But if you want precise, devastating hits, then it's time you learn the greatsword. The other half of the game is the monsters themselves. Not only are you learning the weapons, but as you play the game, you'll recognize attack patterns and animations from monsters that allow you to calculate weapons like the greatsword or the hammer. The biggest weakness that Monster Hunter has is that it explains its weapons terribly. They try to give you a small video explaining how each weapon works, but don't necessarily tell you the crucial info you need to become a master weapon wielder.
A lightweight weapon that lets you bolt into the air and control pinsets. A close-range weapon that facilitates fluid combos and evasion. A weapon that lets you charge up power and attack from medium range. Close-range offensive weapons that are used to deal a rapid flurry of blows.
And to my knowledge, Monster Hunter Worlds doesn't even tell you that there is a training area where you can test your weapons and learn and practice each combo associated with your weapon. When you're just getting into Monster Hunter, I suggest that you pick whatever weapon looks cool to you. Then do a hunt and you'll know whether the weapon is for you or not. Trying to brute force your way into enjoying difficult aspects of the game is what pushes users away. The game has 14 different playstyles, and saying that you don't like one weapon is like saying you don't want to drive cars because buses are too big and you don't want to have to drive a bus. Take it slow. Try out the dual blades. They offer a more traditional hack and slash playstyle. Once you understand the core game mechanics and the monsters themselves, you'll feel more equipped to try your hand at any weapon you desire. The Monster Hunter series is constantly changing their roster of monsters in each game release, and I'm happy to say that every single monster deserves to be here. The games include 3 ranks: low rank, high rank, and master rank. Low rank starts off with pretty grounded monsters, large lizards, birds, etc. High rank will have you facing dragons and wyverns, and once master rank hits, you'll not only be fighting all of those previous monsters, but variants of them as well. Tempered and alternate versions of most monsters take away the predictability of what you thought you knew, and make a monster that traditionally does lightning damage suddenly hit you with poison. I'm looking at you, Viper Toby. The game keeps things fresh throughout your entire playthrough, and I mean that. But the real meat of the game is the min-maxing. When you think of Monster Hunter, you think of massive armor, huge weapon selections, and endless monster hunts with fast-paced gameplay. When I think of Monster Hunter, I think of in-game menus. Now, don't close out the video because I promise it's not as boring as you'd think. Let me explain it quickly, as this is not a tutorial. You want better armor? Okay. There are 2 variants of most armor sets in the game. So go through the skills on each one and decide what piece you need to make. Wishlist that item, because this allows you to quickly see what loot you need from each hunt. Okay, well you know what armor you want, so now you need gems. These gems give you skills. There are ones that allow you to break parts easier, negate the sound of roars, even some that boost elemental attacks. You can slot these into your armor, your weapons, anything that allows for it. And finally, once you know what weapon you like, it's time to upgrade it. If you want to get to the real good content in Monster Hunter, play through low rank with the Defender set of weapons. Once you get to high rank, start making your own weapons, mostly because you will need these base versions of each weapon variant in order to craft weapons later in the game. Then, to play like a true robo-gamer, you need to pay attention to each monster's weakness, which can be found in your Hunter book by finding footprints in-game and slowly unlocking information about each monster that you hunt. Or just use the wiki. Take their weaknesses and use them to decimate your enemies like a true hunter. A lot of the joy of Monster Hunter comes from the knowledge you get from playing the game. You learn attack patterns, weaknesses, in each map slowly. Monster Hunter rarely gives you any information at all and just expects you to be the catalyst of everything. It leaves the game open to so many possibilities in terms of mechanics and storytelling, but drastically hinders its ability to appeal to players that are looking for exactly what Monster Hunter is offering. I just really hope that you give Monster Hunter a try. And with Wilds right around the corner, I'll be interested to see where they take the series from here.